If you guys are struggling in Elite rank in Fortnite Chapter 5 Season 4, this video is for you. Elite is probably one of the hardest ranks because it's hard to gain percentage for kills and placement because they are worth almost nothing. But today, I have a solution on how you can gain the most percentage in every ranked game you play. You don't have to be the best fighter to gain percentage. I mean, look at Bushcamp Dad. I mean, bro is already unreal. But one thing you do is follow the step-to-step guide, and you will most definitely get out of Elite rank and hit Unreal in no time. Now, let's get into the video. The first thing we need to determine is, what kind of player are you? You like fighting a lot and W keying, or are you more of a passive player? The reason why I say this is because most people, they don't know how good they are at like fighting early or mid game or even end game. So basically, you need to determine how good of a fighter you are in each section of the game. So basically, early game, mid game, and end game. If you are really good at fighting early game, you can land at a POI, but don't land one of the medallion POIs because it can be highly contested. And honestly, the really good players go there, like the Unreal players, because they have nothing to lose. They're already Unreal. But if you're a person that likes fighting mid game a lot, probably land on one of the outside places of the map. Make sure it has really good loot. But if you like fighting end game, do the same thing as mid game. But honestly, just don't fight mid game at all. Okay, just obviously mid game, just make sure you have 555 brick, wood, and metal, and make sure you have good weapons and have movement. After you figure out what kind of player you are, we need to find a drop spot. Finding a drop spot is very important because you want to have a consistent spot you land at every game. You know where all the chest spawns are and the floor loot spawns. So master the drop spot. Have a consistent plan on how every game should go. You should know how you want to rotate out of your spot and always be moving. Do not camp. You should always be advancing your game, like getting more materials, better weapons, or just finding more movement. Whatever it is, you always want to be improving your situation to have the best chances of winning more potential fights and setting yourself up better for mid-game. Your plan won't always go as planned because, for example, it might be a hot drop, so you can't land at that POI because there might be 5, 10, even 15 people there. You're going to have a backup place that you kind of know. Or some people just might have better spots, so you have to land outside of that POI. The reason why I'm saying this is because you always want to be ready to adjust on the spot. So you want to be memorizing chest spawns, floor loot spawns, whatever it is. It can be even ammo box spawns. And the reason why I say this is because first off, if you do this, you'll gain a massive advantage against most players. Because honestly, most players, they don't take time out to memorize chest spawns, floor loot spawns, because simply they're just lazy. But if you want to gain advantage and maximize your potential, make sure you memorize chest spawns. And how you do that is use Fortnite.gg, which is a website, to look at the chest spawns, floor loot spawns, ammo box spawns, any spawns for loot, it's going to be on there. The last thing you want to master in early game is just dropping in general. Like for example, if you're landing somewhere and there's like a divot, you want to make sure you pull your glider just a little bit earlier because you might be too short at that POI. I know this is kind of common sense, but most players, they don't analyze this. They don't take time out to memorize this kind of stuff. So always be thinking about this when you're landing somewhere. And also one more thing, if you suck at fighting early game, don't land hot drop. Because I see some players like, man, I'm down 30-40%. And mostly the reason is they just die off spawn. They land somewhere hot and they're like, man, why am I dropping? It's because you can't fight off spawn. You're not very good at fighting off spawn. The only way you can improve that is basically just going in creative and just practicing. Or going into battle royale games and just hot dropping in there. And if you can't survive in a normal battle royale game, how do you expect to survive off spawn in ranked? To make sure you know your weaknesses and your strengths. Now, let's talk about mid game. So mid game will be different for everybody. Some players might be set with already a couple kills, very good mats, 555, wood, brick, and metal, good weapons and heals, and have movement. Some other players, obviously, they might not have many builds, probably not good loot, and probably just no extra heals or no movement. So mid game is different for everybody. So basically, how you want to play mid game is different for everybody. For example, if you have no builds and bad loot, you need to start fighting people. I know some players are not very good fighting mid game because it's pretty hard to fight mid game because people are always third partying and fourth partying with cars or with jetpacks. You want to make sure you're always aware and make sure you don't fight stupidly. So always make sure you have builds surrounding you when you're fighting somebody. Basically, you want to box fight them. But if you're on the other side, if you're already set with good loot, don't fight, but position yourself good for end game. Basically, what I mean by that is after you're done with early game, okay, and you're during mid game. For example, you can get the watchtower, kill the boss. You can see where future zones are. Basically, just have that in your mind and see how you want to improve your game. Maybe getting better movement. For example, if you don't have a car, maybe try to get a car. Whatever it is, make sure you're advancing your mid game so you can set yourself up better for end game. So if you have to fight mid game, keep these things in mind. Like I said, watch out for third and fourth parties, and make sure you play box fights, no build fights, because if you play build fights, trust me, you're going to build up, obviously you're going to build up high, and other players are going to see you, and you're basically going to attract more players, which is not good because you're going to get third and fourth parties. Also, make smart peaks. Don't do stupid dumb edits that that make you expose, and just don't make wide open edits. Basically make nice little window edits, or peanut butter edits, so you have smart edits so you just don't expose yourself and you get hit for a lot of damage. Also, try to hit high damage shots. How do we hit damaging shots? With your shotgun, make sure your reticle is right on him, not a little left to them, so like it only hits him for like 30-40. Make sure it's directly on him. You can get a 100+ shot off him. Always try to be the first person to get the shots off. For example, if you see a player, okay, and they don't know where you are but you know where they are, sneak up against them and try to get the first shots off. When you do that, you put yourself in a massive advantage. And also, you don't always have to fight the first person you see. Just be patient, because some players will just run away, and just don't chase too hard, because if you do that, you're just going to waste your time chasing this player across the map, and at one point you're going to find another player that's going to start fighting you, and you're going to just get distracted, and you're just not going to be able to kill that person because he's just going to keep running. If you're going to endgame with no loot, you have to fight and get a refresh. Now let's talk about endgame. How you want to play endgame is pretty simple. Fight when you need to and make smart and good rotations. For example, you never want to be behind in zones, because when you do that, when there's moving zones and you're behind zones, first off, you're going to get focused and you're going to get sprayed at, and eventually you're probably going to die because Storm's going to be ticking a lot. You're going to storm sickness, and the players are just going to be spamming you. Also, if you're low on mats, you need to get a quick refresh, but make it a quick kill, because zones are moving very quickly. So make sure you get a quick refresh, pick the mats up, and just keep rotating in the zone. Also, always try to rotate early. And the reason why I say this is, when you rotate early and you're already in front of zone, you can hold other players in zone. So you can get easy kills, and when you get easy kills, you're going to gain more percentage because you're getting more kills. So when you do that, you can just get some easy cheeky kills. You can also get some refreshes, like I said earlier. Also, you want to be spamming. Just basically don't let them breathe, okay? If, for example, if you have high ground and you see a couple players down kind of fighting, they're trying to heal and stuff, always be applying pressure with the AR and SMG, and just don't let them breathe. The reason why I say this is, first off, they probably have to reload their weapons and they need to heal, but if you just keep applying pressure, they're not going to be able to do that. So always be spamming. The last thing I want to say, I always say this in every video I end with when it comes to ranked videos: Fortnite isn't everything. Don't stress too much, and don't get too emotional over pixels. Like, think about it. This is a video game. This isn't even real life. If you just start struggling in ranked, just go for a walk, talk to your family, hang out with your friends, just do something to get out there. Because first off, Fortnite is about the experience and just getting better in your skill. Don't compare your skill to somebody else, because it's you versus you. And when you compare yourself, you're basically stealing that joy away from you. But don't compare, and just keep improving every day. If you guys enjoyed, drop a sub and turn noties on, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.